Good evening, you're watching Times Now. This is News Pulse. Let's get you started with our top focus. This is a Times Now super exclusive. For the residents of Ajmer, Eid was an occasion when they would look forward to festivities, footfalls and profits. But this time around, controversies have surrounded this world-famous Dargah of Khwaja Moinuddin Chishty. It is in the news for threats being issued by those who work as khadims here. Yesterday we showed you how both Hindu and Muslim shopkeepers are paying the price of warnings being issued by the likes of Sarwar and Chisti. Today, Times Now blows the cover of these threat mongers. And who is the mastermind? Likely putting words into their mouth to destroy peace and bonhomie in the city. Days after boycott Hindu shops called, Times Now's Bhavar Pushpendra spoke to the local businessmen. First, watch how the venom being spewed has managed to kill profits for not only the Hindus but also the Muslims.
ऐसा है, बाकी घर कुछ नहीं है, कोई टेंशन नहीं तो मेरे घर पे चल के रह लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। ये क्या है, कुछ लोग अपनी ताकत दिखाने के लिए वही है, किसी को कुछ से मतलब नहीं। आप बाढ़ में हम इधर कभी कोई कुछ बात नहीं ना, हम आपको बुरा बोल लेना, आप हमको बुरा बोल। अब ये लोग क्या इस तरह का माहौल कर रहा, अपनी दादागिरी दिखाने वाली बात है, कोई दम नहीं। ये सरवर चिश्ती साहब है ना, ये आने के बाद जो थोड़ा माहौल है, ये माहौल क्या बेसिकली इस तरह के हमेशा ही करते रहे क्या पब्लिक के अंदर। सरवर चिश्ती कौन है? तो यहाँ पे अंजुमन के सचिव बने अभी सरवर।
तो लेकिन भड़काऊ भाषण तो दिया ही था भाई साहब।
देखो मैं आपको एक चीज़ बताऊँ, आज कोई कमज़ोर आदमी तो कुछ नहीं करेगा, दो गाली तो
हाँ वही है, कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे कुछ तो करो।
You heard that, viewers. A weak person trying to assert himself, say the locals, but where does this man draw his strength from? Strength to openly call for boycotts, threaten protests that will rock the nation and the law enforcement agencies. The next testimony will open your eyes as the residents of Ajmer tell you what seems to be an open secret.
आप ये देखो कि जिस तरीके से इन्होंने वो एक ऑडियो जारी किया है, जैसा हिंदुओं की दुकानों से मत खरीदो वो मत खरीदो ना, वो ठीक नहीं है।
वो तो शायद पहले भी हुआ है, 92 में भी इन्होंने करा था, 98 में भी बोला था।
अच्छा,
3-4 बार पहले भी बोला। ये तो क्या भी अंजुमन का नया है ना सेक्रेटरी, सारा सिस्टम
ये सरवर चिश्ती
उसने सारा सिस्टम बना रखा है। महीना भर हुआ है, 15 दिन।
अच्छा, 15 दिन में इतना कर दिया क्या?
बहुत चल रहा है शुरू से है ना, साल 1.5 साल से इसका PFI सबसे लिंक चल रहा है, वीडियो आ रहा है शुरू से। ये कोटा में भी इसने भाषणबाजी बहुत करी थी।
हाँ, कोटा में हुआ था ना, कार्यक्रम हुआ था कोटा में। इसका एक भतीजा भी है ना,
वही तो है गौर चिश्ती। वो फरार है ना, वो
सरतन से जोधा वाला।
वो मेन वही तो है,
वही
अभी से नहीं, शुरू से भी ले।
वो भी PFI में है क्या गौर चिश्ती?
उसके कॉन्टेक्ट होंगे इसके, वो जरूरी नहीं है उनको।
Now, such is the fear that these people have managed to instill that even the policemen are scared of venturing into areas that they have an influence in, probably explaining why these hate mongers are still running free despite repeated hate calls.
बयान आया था ये सरतन से जुदा वाला, गेट पे था ना दरगाह वाली।
मैं क्या भरपूर गया हुआ था,
नहीं वीडियो वायरल हुआ उसका, मैं तो गोहर का।
मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, मैं था 6 दिन भरपूर। अच्छा, चोरी के मामले में गया था। ये मामले का वो है कि मैं तो कुछ पता ही नहीं चल रहा था, आगे ध्यान देखा तो मैं ये क्या हो गया,
माहौल खराब मिला। ये केस इसका सलमान वाला केस दरगाह में तो था,
दरगाह में था
सलमान चिश्ती वाला। अब बताओ उसने वो डिप्टी साहब को नपवा दिया।
अब देखो, अब यही कर रहे यार, तो आप भी जानते हो यार, सब बहुत तो गोली देनी पड़ती है यार।
अजी मैं गया था उसके घर पे, वहाँ पे मैंने देखा था भाई, बहुत गलियाँ ऐसी तंग, बिल्कुल
जानते हो कैसे निकाल के, बहुत
मुश्किल है।
बहुत पुलिस मतलब माफी क्या करे, जो जैसे कर गुड़ा के भाई ये थोड़ी
आदमी उठाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, बहुत मुश्किल। कहना आसान है, आम आदमी विश्वास और अपराधी में डर।
विश्वास ही लाया जा सकता है, दादागिरी करने पे तो माहौल खराब होता है।
ये कहते हैं ना, ये कह रहे हैं भाई ऐसा करके वहाँ जाके देखो एक बार, आप वैसे घूमने चले जाओ, जाना तो बहुत।
मैं देख के आया।
आप पकड़ कर क्या करोगे, आप बताइए, कर सकते हैं? अंदर ऐसी कंजेस्टेड एरिया है, मार्केट अंदर दबोच ले, पता और नीचे तक गया कहाँ।
Now, all this while you've heard the hate monger Chishtys. Today, hear the real voice The real faith keepers, the keeper of faith, call it what you want to. Our executive editor Padmaja Joshi spoke to the chairman of the Chisty Foundation, Haji Syed Salman Chishty.
So what really is happening inside the Ajmer Dargah? There are some serious concerns being raised, especially after the kind of pictures that have now emerged, which you just saw on Times Now. Haji Syed Salman Chishty, somebody who's been very vocal about how slowly some people are spoiling the atmosphere there, is joining us live. Salman Sahab, I want to start by asking you, what do you make of these very, very worrying pictures that are emerging of people like Sarwar Chisti, Gehlot Chisti making calls to violence? How should people on the outside see this?
Well, greeting of peace, adab and salam to everybody, namaste. It is very alarming. It is unfortunate that, Ajmer Dargah Sharif, which has been a center of unconditional love and human service from last 800 years, serving and welcoming people from all faith, all traditions, and everybody is experiencing that bliss and blessings and that contentment of heart while being at Ajmer Sharif. Millions and millions of people are visiting Ajmer Sharif. And I was not in India. I just came back last week and heard that some individual with the name of Salman who released a statement of violence, death and destruction. Another person who raised some slogans. So our community as Khuddam-e Khwaja Gharib Nawaz, Dargah Ajmer Sharif, the Gaddi Nashin family have condemned it in the strongest of terms. All the official bodies have condemned it in the strongest of terms. And these individuals hold the responsibility themselves. The community, the Dargah shrine itself has no responsibility or no bearing of these individuals. Where are they learning these extremist ideologies? That is a concern, and where it has been creeping in, that is also a very deep concern, and it must be denounced and condemned in the most harshest time.
You spoke of extremist ideology. Let me ask you straight up. Now, Sarwar Chisti has been known openly to back the PFI. Do you think that radical organizations like PFI are carrying out their agenda through such khadims in the Ajmer Dargah?
We have spoken against any association of any organizations, political or these radical organizations with Ajmer Dargah Sharif. There is no such connection. They all do this in their personal capacity. This is not the official stand or even remotely connected to Ajmer Dargah Sharif. Why they are creeping in, why they are want to utilize the platform of Ajmer Sharif, that is a deep concern, and the investigation authorities must take note of this, that if they are infiltrating such ranks of the sacred institutions like Ajmer Sharif is deeply worrying, deeply concerning our organizations, our community, and when they have condemned this and they have distanced themselves from any such individual who raised such slogans of death and destructions.
There were calls of Sar Tan Se Juda given from outside, just outside of the Ajmer Dargah. What do you have to say about such calls to violence?
It is extremely deplorable, un-Islamic, anti-Islamic, anti-humanity. It is anti-constitutional. And in India, there is no such place for such slogans. We have grown up and, lived in Ajmer Sharif from my childhood. And I was asking to some of our elders in Ajmer Sharif that, have you ever heard these kind of slogans? We have grown up and we have never heard these kind of slogans of, Sar Tan Se Juda, from where they have come into India. Not only Ajmer Sharif, we have not even heard this anywhere in India. It's just last few years that these slogans have crept in and the people are using this and they have been utilized. This is completely deplorable. And I say again, this is completely un-Islamic, anti-Islamic, anti-constitutional, and it is anti-humanity, and we condemn it into the heart. And whoever use these slogans and provoke people to do, investigation agencies must investigate from where they are learning this and why they are destroying the social fabric of the country by using such slogans.
And also in the Muslim community.
If anybody, we have openly called for, within the Muslim community also across India, if anybody listen to such slogans, anybody provoking, they should report to the authorities, they should report and they should boycott and discard them from the community, the society or the mohallas across India.
Aren't they bringing a bad name to the community? People like Gehlot Chisti, Sarwar Chisti, Salman Chishty, and to the Dargah?
Absolutely, this is highly condemnable. As I said again, that this is their sole responsibility. Whoever is calling for violence, death and destruction, the community, the dargahs, the Sufi khankas, the centers of unconditional love, bears no responsibility of individual acts and slogans. They are doing it in their own personal capacity, whatever their motive is, that should be investigated. And Ajmer Dargah Sharif holds no responsibility of any such individuals who are calling for such slogans of Sar Tan Se Juda or death and destruction. We condemn it, and we also call upon all the khankas to openly come out and denounce such slogans if they are used or in a provocative manner by any section of the society anywhere across India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Rajasthan to Bengal.
What would you say to the Hindu shopkeepers around the Ajmer Dargah who might be watching you right now? Because just before Eid, there were audio tapes that went viral saying that these Hindus must be taught a lesson through economic boycott. What would you say to people who were being threatened in that fashion?
Look, again, this is their individual statement, whoever raised these slogans and statements. And the Hindus and Muslims have been from generation to generation. All the shops around the Dargah have been, by the Sindhi and the Hindu communities there. They come every day at the time of Dua Roshni to Dargah Ajmer Sharif. When they open their shops, they bring the keys and put at the steps of the Dargah. This is how sacred and spiritual connection, the spiritual relation is for decades and decades and centuries, which cannot be tarnished, which cannot be destroyed by any such kind of extremist individuals or those people who are trying to destroy the social fabric. It is not possible that these individuals can destroy the social fabric of India, and we need to bring this dialogue out in the public spaces, that what India today needs is a discussion. We don't need any debates. We don't need any debates of who is right or who is wrong, because debates, you will always come out of debate for and against. You will never come on a common platform. It is the discussions that is required today, that we need to openly engage in these discussions, bring out the positive lights and the strength, the spiritual strength of our nation, which is unity and diversity across the land. And I think that is one of the greatest strengths that we all have to stand by together, amplify it, and share this message from India to the world.
What would you say to Hindus who are now saying that for years we have come to the Ajmer Dargah believing in faith, believing in divinity, believing in unity, but now if people like Sarwar Chisti continue to stay at the Dargah, we'll boycott it?
We have friends, we have communities across India who have been spiritually connected to Dargah Ajmer Sharif. They have been coming from not only years, but generation to generation, their father, their grandfather, who would have their spiritual attachment. And we have said this earlier also, that any individual who drift away, who go against the teachings of Khaja Gharib Nawaz, Khaja Moinuddin Chishti, radiallahu anhu, whose teachings are that if you want to be close to the Creator, develop three attributes of nature into your being, which is sun-like grace, river-like generosity, and earth-like hospitality. As these three attributes of nature never make any differences or distinguish upon whom they are serving. And that is what we have been taught from our childhood, that from our elders, that whoever comes to the Dargah, never ask their name, never ask their religion, never ask their language, never ask which region they come from. If you have to ask them, just ask them one question: how can we serve you? How can we extend our seva to you? If you have been provided with those worldly resources, go ahead and help the needy and the poor and the downtrodden. If not, then raise these two hands and make dua. That is why we are known as the duago, those who make dua, pray. So this is what the Khuddam Khaja Gharib Nawaz, the Gaddi Nashin, have been doing from last 800 years, and which holds no moral responsibility for any individual who's calling for any kind of division and destruction. So I would say this to our Indian family, our Indian brothers and sisters who have been coming to Ajmer Dargah Sharif, that the message of Khaja Gharib Nawaz is very clear. Whoever drift away, whoever distort, whoever misuse that message, they are not from Dargah Ajmer Sharif. They don't belong to the teachings of Khaja Gharib Nawaz. They are acting on their own, and they should in no way will be connected to Ajmer Dargah Sharif or the teachings of Khaja Gharib Nawaz. Our Hindu brothers and sisters from all faith and tradition, they have been coming for Gharib Nawaz and Khaja Sahib's teachings and his blessings and his faiz, which is omnipresent, which people experience, not only listen or hear, but this is what they experience, the sacred experience when they close their eyes. join their hands or raise their hands. This is the sacred experience which is beyond any individual person around here.
But then for this faith and unity to be re-established, shouldn't Sarwar Chisti be arrested?
Well, our Anjuman is competent enough. They are responsible. The president of Anjuman, Haji Syed Salman Chishty Sahab, he is the person who's interacting with the media, who is the one who's sharing the message. And whatever, any person who goes against the Constitution of India, against the laws of India, the authorities must pay heed to it. And whatever the law prescribes, such action should be initiated to whoever it is. Not only somebody from Ajmer Sharif, but anybody from India who goes against the Constitution of India, who profess any faith, whatever his surname is, from any faith tradition, if they go against the Constitution of India, the authorities must take note of it and initiate whatever action must be taken in due diligence.
All right, Haji Syed Salman Chishty Sahab, thank you very much for speaking to us, but the law must step in. Shocking threats that have been given, shocking calls to violence that have been given by elements who are using the platform of a dargah held dear by many.